considered separately and voted on separately on a ballot question, on ballot questions, whenever this board determines it's appropriate to put those forth for consideration by the public. The reason that we're discussing this matter this morning is because we have some specific deadlines that must be met in order to get reimbursement on one component of that proposal, and that's for the proposed Swan Pond Elementary School. As most of you are aware, we have preliminary approval from the School Building Assistance Bureau for 64% reimbursement on that particular project. It's been determined to be reimbursable. That deadline goes by and passes us by come the end of this June. We have to have construction documents in by June in order for the 64% to be secured for that project. You are probably also aware that the state has revised their formulas for reimbursement on schools, and it would appear as though the reimbursement level for the town of North Reading on any projects that we put forth would probably be less than the 64%. All indications are that it'll be 58, 59%, somewhere around in there. So the only reason that we're discussing this matter this morning is because of that timetable that's driving us. We've been informed by architects and engineers that they need 3 to 4 months to put together the construction documents necessary to have them submitted to the School Building Assistance Bureau of the Department of Education. That being the case, waiting until the annual May election for a debt exclusion vote would preclude us from taking advantage of the 64% should the general populace out there at an election decide to go with the Swan Pond School. Additionally, we have put forth an alternative proposal plan to the Swan Pond School, which is a reconstruction and addition to the Bachelor School site. Over the last few months, a significant number of people have put in an awful lot of hours to try and come up with some answers to questions that many people in the community have in relation to the feasibility of that particular proposal. We're at a certain junction now where we have some preliminary numbers as to what the cost of that proposal is going to be. And again, the board will be weighing whether or not it's necessary to put that question on also. Just to give you a quick chronology of events and why we're here and why we're at this stage. Again, in October '95, a feasibility study was approved by town meeting. The school building committee was formed for elementary schools. In February of '96, a special town meeting for the design cost of the 3 schools was put forth. If you recall, that was for the first phase, which was the little school renovation addition. This new Swan Pond School was part of the proposal, as well as the renovation additions to the Hood School. That failed. So that was the first failure on the part of proposals being put forth, and it was a combined project. In April of '96, the plan was broken up, and the little school, in and of itself, construction and addition was approved. In October of '96, construction documents for the little school were approved. Additionally, in October of '96, we meaning town meeting, funded the engineering and site survey for the Swan Pond School. So that was approved in October of '96. At a special election, November 19th, 1996, the townspeople approved the construction in addition to the little school. In October of '97, construction of the new elementary school at Swan Pond was put forth at town meeting at $10.3 million and was approved. At another special election in November 18th of '97, the Swan Pond School was then defeated, standing on its own. In October of '98, design for the Hood School was approved at town meeting. And then in February of '99, a special town meeting to fund the Hood School renovation was approved, and in March of '99, at a special election, the debt exclusion was approved for the Hood School. If you recall more recent history, there's just this past year, in October of 2000, a town meeting was put forth a proposal which they passed, which was the bump plan, so-called bump plan, which was all-inclusive of, again, the new elementary school at Swan Pond, the police station up behind here, along with other ancillary projects. That was approved at town meeting, and again at the November ballot was defeated, and here we sit. As I stated earlier, what we're looking for now is to, since that election, members of this board, school building committee, school committee, and other public interest groups have become deeply involved in discussions and meetings to try and facilitate a resolution to our immediate space needs. Everybody seems to be on the same page in relation to agreeing that there is a need to come to some resolution, and that, you know, doing nothing is not the solution, is not the answer. That we have differing opinions as to what approach should be taken and how it's going to be taken, but in the meantime we have these other timelines which are driving us to make some decisions. So again, the reason we're discussing this morning, this basically a special meeting, our agenda item, is because of the timeline driven by the reimbursement rate on the Swan Pond School. What we're looking at with all the indications and numbers that we have is that the difference in the amount of money that would be reimbursable between the new formula and the 64% formula is in excess of $1 million. And it's a question as to whether or not we want to somewhat ensure ourselves of that reimbursement rate by placing it before the public on a timely basis, or holding off until the regular May election or some other date and foregoing the opportunity at 64%. And that brings us to the point where we're at. So what I'd like to do is open up for the board's discussion as to whether or not we are going to proceed with a special election for a debt exclusion vote on Swan Pond School and or the alternative proposal for the renovation of the bachelor's school. And do we feel as though the general public has enough information to make an informed decision as to which choice they'd like to make? Because those appear to be the only two feasible plans for consideration. And again, for everybody's information, on Tuesday, the superintendent, school building committees, representative school committee and school building committee will be going before Department of Education and the School Building Assistance Bureau people to present the alternative plan proposal for feasibility for reimbursement. So hopefully we'll have some more answers for that. This is all in preparation of the February 12th town meeting.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Mino.
I move to call a special election for Tuesday, March 6, 2001.
There's a motion. Is there a second? Chair will second the motion. Is there discussion? Anybody have any discussion? Mr. Mino?
For the same reasons as you spoke, Mr. Chair, I would like to call this. I do want to say, throughout a lot of these discussions, I've sat over here, been called a liar several times, been lied to several times. Fump never did lie. Fump told the truth. You and Fump were lied to. We were told that the group had a plan. The group never had a plan. The group had an idea. When you go to build a house with plans, you have plans. When you have an idea to build a 20-room house, you have an idea. They had an idea. We were told the group had approximately $5,000 to spend. There's been a situation arise in the last week or so where we found out that is not true. Now, I've sat here numerous meetings, and it's time I speak, and I have to speak. As we knew, the cost has come in higher than a new school to renovate the bachelor school. But I sat here and I said nothing because I wanted to give the group a chance to show us where they were going to save the $20 million we were told. Now, I've heard figures of 15 million, 13, but it was 20. And a member of this board said $20 million. I've yet to see anything but an increase in price. I want to be perfectly clear that Fump's original plan that we had, Fump had a plan, was to put the bachelor school back the way it was. Not to add on additions and to take away the field and to destroy the center of town. I feel very strongly about this. The cost is what bothers me the most. A member of this board said cost was the most important thing. Unfortunately, I missed the meeting last week. I had other commitments. And I was told that that same member said cost was not the most important factor here. This bothers me tremendously. I wish I had been at that meeting because you would have heard this back then. I just am flabbergasted at what's going on here. But I had to give the group a chance to come forward and show us. I knew they couldn't show us. I was told they could renovate the bachelor in 3 months and the children could stay in it. That's absurd. I'm not a builder. But anyone with any building experience would know that that is absolutely impossible to do. Again, we were going to put the batch back the way it was. I'm still open-minded to a renovation of the batch. I'm not saying I've closed my mind on that, but I will not support a plan that costs more money than what a brand new school would have cost and would have left our center of town in the way it was. Thank you very much for listening. I'm sorry I carried on.
It's big. Yeah, I'm opposed to a special town meeting, special election, because since November 7th, the election November 7th, there on the new school, there's literally been no information, no new information. We've got the same deadline as we had the December 31st deadline, and on November 7th, when we had great turnout, the Swan Pond School was defeated. It was defeated with the police station, so, you know, you can interpret the votes any way you want, but I don't see that there's any new information. I would be in favor of putting it on the May 8th ballot.
Smith.
Yeah, I agree. If you go back over the history, and I know a lot of people don't like to go over the history of these projects, but Swan Pond School, as we all know, was defeated at a town meeting back a few years back. It was also defeated at a special election, and I emphasize the word special election, in 1997 by the community. It was also defeated at an election, a general election on November 7th in the year 2000, after the people were well informed, presented the informational, factual information in a very timely basis. They had it, the information was presented for at least a period of 2 months. After they were informed on a timely basis with all the information, and it was expressly, they were expressly informed that the drop dead date was December 30th, year 2000. So everybody that went to those polls were under the impression that if in fact they voted against this project, the 64% reimbursement rate was gone. That has all changed again. Now the drop dead date is June 30th, and they're being told the exact same information that they were told in November. If you don't vote for this at a special election, I guess it's called for now March 6th, then you won't get the reimbursement. They've been told the information, they're well aware of the information, and they still voted against the proposal. If you remember that the chairman of this board originally called for another special election after the defeat in November 7th, he called for a special election on December 26th.